Hey guys, welcome to What the Tech, where I just buy up unusual items I see on Shopee and then we get to look at them together. So this first item is actually what gave me the idea for this series. It's called a wireless ergonomic mouse or a vertical ergonomic mouse. You see I unboxing it right now, so this is gonna be the first time I see this. Um, this thing is really cheap. It's something like 199 pesos. So I thought, what the heck, it's so weird, I might as well make a video out of it. Now, vertical ergonomic mice are not actually new. They've been around for a while. Logitech has some vertical ergonomic mice in their catalog, but those are expensive. This one's really cheap, and so if you're thinking about just trying one, this might be an option for you. It doesn't even have a brand, it just says ergonomic mouse. No brand at all, nothing. So I'm not gonna be too guilty if I just rip this open. Ooh, there it is. Wow. Alright, okay, let's just get this out of the way. So the build quality on this thing is actually not bad. I like the matte finish. The buttons are nicely clicky. I guess you hold it like this, huh? It's got two side buttons. The clicks on this are actually really good, even compared to something like a Razer or a Logitech mouse. This is not too bad, and it's wireless too. So for 199 pesos, you'd be pretty hard pressed to find a wireless normal mouse, and this thing is weird. So batteries, looks like two AAAs. So right now it's really light. If once you add in the batteries, it'll probably be heavier. And here's the on and off switch. The feet look fine. They're not PTFE or anything, but you can't really expect the PTFE from a 199 peso mouse. Wow, first impressions on this thing are pretty good. Build quality is nice. Some of the plastic is not really perfectly aligned, but what can you expect, you know? Mouse wheel is nicely clicky. The mouse wheel press is a bit hard. It's even harder than the Razer Death Adder, and I already find that to be really hard to click to middle click. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons, including the wheel press. Yeah, so I'm gonna put a couple of batteries on this thing, and I'm gonna see how easy it is to use and how good it feels working with this. So you're probably not gonna use this for gaming. This is an office mouse. Probably not gonna be replacing your super light gaming mice, but maybe for office application this will be fine. So I already plugged the wireless receiver into my PC, and now we're gonna pop a couple of batteries into this mouse. These are my nickel cadmium rechargeables. And then we are gonna go to the mouse test website. Oh, I forgot to turn it on. Okay, so now we're on the mouse test website. We're gonna test scroll down, scroll up, left click, right click. Ooh, this takes some getting used to. Left click, right click, side buttons. Oh. Huh, so it seems like the side buttons are inverted. The one that's closer to you is actually the forward button, and the one that's further away is this one. This is the forward button, this is the back button, which is the opposite of a regular mouse, which is kind of weird. I guess that's because this button is much easier to press than this one. With this one you have to reach with your thumb to press it. Yeah, so it looks like everything is working, and it's tracking pretty well on my cutting board. This isn't even a mouse pad. So, and then the other test I wanted to do was poll rate test. So I suspect this will be something like 150 hertz polling rate, which is typical for an office mouse. Yeah, you can see the cursor jumping around. I think it doesn't work very well on the cutting board, so let me just remove the cutting board and just do it on the mouse pad. Yeah, that's much better, much better. So I guess the sensor doesn't work well on the cutting board, but that's I'm not really gonna hold that against the mouse. It's cutting board not really meant for mouse gliding anyway. Scroll wheel works fine, and the buttons seem to work fine. So actually the polling rate is higher than I thought. It's something like 200 hertz. So you might know, but a typical gaming mouse typically polls at around 1000 hertz or 1 megahertz, and an office mouse is something like 150. Yeah, so everything works. We've established that much. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day working with this mouse, and then I will be back later with my final thoughts after having used it for a day. So see you then. Okay, so as promised, I'm back after using this mouse for 2 days now, and even now, when I stop to do some things on the computer after recording some videos, I'm still using the mouse. So I've gotten my reps in, and there are some pros and cons with this mouse that I've come up with. I think it would be too easy to just criticize the mouse, like this particular mouse and this type of mouse together, because this is a really cheap budget mouse. So I think I should separate the pros and cons to the shape or the type of mouse, meaning the vertical ergonomic mouse versus the normal mouse, the both ergonomic and ambidextrous. So that will be one set of pros and cons, and then the other set of pros and cons will be the build of this particular mouse. So for the shape, I actually like it. I think that it's a valid type of mouse, you know. So one nice thing that about this mouse that I like is that you can rest your like the ball of your hand here, similar to the Logitech's MX mouse. So you can rest it here as opposed to the normal mouse where it's pretty much on the table and you have to move it around. And then it just looks cool. So the shape, if it's just resting on your desk, a mouse of this shape looks pretty cool. And then the criticisms that I have of this mouse shape is that obviously it's just right-handed, right? You hold it like this, you can't operate this mouse with your left hand. So for most people that probably won't be a problem, but if you're someone who is left-handed, you would have to buy the left-handed version of this mouse, which is also available on Shopee. But if you have to share your computer with someone who has a different dominant hand, then you might one of you is going to have to learn to use the mouse with your non-dominant hand. Okay, and then another thing that that I had trouble with of this particular shape, which might say something about me, is that you can't use this while lying down. So if this is on your desk and then you're like reclining or lying down in front of your desk and trying to use it, you can't reach the buttons from the back. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but it's harder to use from a weird position than a normal mouse, is what I mean. Okay, and then next, I don't know if this is a criticism of the shape or more a criticism of office mice in general, but I took the polling rate of this mouse earlier, and it's around 200 to 250 hertz, which I think is just not enough. Even during a normal office operation, I was surprised by how jagged and jumpy the cursor looked when I was moving it around on the screen. And then next one is more personal thing. I think for me in particular, this shape is just not as comfortable as a normal mouse. I think that might just be because I'm not accustomed to this shape. If you grew up using a vertical mouse like this, then you would be saying the opposite, right? But the adjustment is not that easy for me. It definitely took some getting used to, and after a couple of days I'm still not fully adjusted to using this mouse. I still find myself wishing I had a normal mouse instead. So my final take on the shape of the vertical ergo mouse is that it's not for me, but I can definitely see how it would be preferable for some people. So moving on to the build, I don't want you to think that I'm picking on this mouse because it's really cheap, although I kind of am. But it's not because it's cheap, it's more because the build is not the best. So this isn't, so just to give you some background, this isn't even the cheapest mouse I own that sees regular use. That would be this thing, the Logitech M100R. This thing is many years old, and it costs only 93 pesos on Shopee, so it's super duper cheap. If you're just looking for a really cheap mouse to use, this would probably be my recommendation. But anyway, let's get back to this mouse. So on this mouse in particular, the mouse wheel is really bad. Scrolling it is not a problem, it's the clicking. So I really have to exert effort when I click it. Like, I really have to squeeze hard in order to click it, and I've had trouble with that type of mouse in the past. On the Razer Death Adder, actually my finger hurts after middle clicking a lot. And then one big thing about this mouse is that, as with all wireless mice, after a while, if you're not using it, it goes to sleep. And on this mouse, it won't wake up if you just move it. You really have to click something. You have to click a button, so that's kind of bad. And then also the feet are pretty bad. This just seems like plastic to me. It actually has a similar surface to my cutting board, and that's not smooth at all. It doesn't glide on any surface. And lastly, the sensor is pretty bad. So on the cutting board I showed you earlier, it doesn't work very well. But I tried my Logitech M100R, and it works perfectly fine on the cutting board, and that's an ancient, cheaper mouse. Moving on to the positives, I like the rubberized finish on this. I wish my daily driver mice had this finish. It's just nice to hold on the hand. The buttons are another positive aspect of this particular mouse. I like the way they click. There's very little pre-travel or post-travel. I just wish this button, the right click, was a little wider, because sometimes I find myself holding it like this or like this, and I wish I could click here, but I can't, because that's already the boundary between the right click and this unused area. Finally, it has RGB. Well, it has R here. I don't know if you can see it. Make it a little bit darker. Yeah, there. So it actually looks pretty cool, because the light travels like in an arch. Yeah, so it kind of looks like an alien spaceship if you look at it from the side. But there's not a lot of positives to the build of this mouse. It's just a budget mouse, and it's not even very good for a budget mouse build-wise. So you might say it's typical AliExpress stuff, typical brandless China stuff, but honestly, it's hard to expect more for the price, and I'm disappointed, but I can't say I didn't expect this. So that's my take on the vertical ergonomic mouse. Do you have any experience using this mouse or other mice of this type? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious if there are people out there using a vertical ergo mouse as their daily driver. Also, what did you think of What the Tech? What do you think of this series? Is there anything weird on Shopee that you want me to check out and review? Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, if you got value from it, if you think it's a good idea, please like and subscribe. It would really help the channel and help me to continue making videos like this in the future. Okay, so that's it. I will see you guys in the next video.